Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Unbelievably, it's the 7th of November already. We only have a few Mondays left in this calendar year, and I can't believe that. My name is Jennifer Wilson. I'm here on Convergence Coaching's HR Huddle, a program that meets Mondays at 5:15 Eastern, almost every Monday, and usually hosted by my partner, Tamara Lorzell, who is out facilitating client advisory services workshops. So she's not here, and I'm stepping in her stead. And I am so happy to tell you that today we're going to talk about learning in the profession, learning in our firms, and in particular, sort of new things firms are doing in learning. And we have an inefficient learning model in the profession. It takes us 14 years to create an expert, which is insane. And we have to reduce the amount of time it takes us to develop these smart people coming out of school. They want to learn and grow and progress faster. And so Samantha Mansfield on our team is here with me today. She's going to share her opinions about learning, but she has invited a special guest, and I'm going to let her do the introductions, but somebody that we have been admiring what their firm is doing and what this person is leading in learning. So Samantha, you want to take it from here?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Jen. And I'm excited to get to be back today and talk about this topic. It's such an important one. And Carolyn Hall, who is with us, she and I have been working together. Oh my goodness, Carolyn, I think close to 10 years at this point, right?
I'd say so, yes.
So Carolyn is a partner with WIS, a firm in predominantly New Jersey. I think you've got some remote team and so forth as well, I believe, Carolyn. And, one of the things that Carolyn and I have talked about for quite a while is the importance of upskilling team members. That it's more than just the technical training that's really needed, especially when you're looking at the growth of advisory services. And we've talked about that quite a bit, especially, I would say, these last 12 months or so. And so one of the things that we've been impressed with is how Carolyn has really been getting involved with her seniors and supervisors. And so, Carolyn, could you talk about how your firm kind of zoned in on your seniors and supervisors and why you're finding it important to work on what some people call these soft skills or success skills or people skills, and specifically in that group?
Sure. So really it was a lot of collaboration between myself and our COO, Amanda. We worked together. I'm obviously a leader in client accounting and advisory services. And we worked together on, just on the talent development piece of it. That's a focus of my role. So we realized that especially in the beginning of the pandemic, we had a little slip with training. There was so much to adjust to and focus on. So when we kind of took a look back, we thought, okay, where do we go from here? Where do we start to get things off the ground and really have our team prepared for the future? So we really focused on the seniors because like the Convergence Coaching Roundtable is called, they're leading from the middle, right? So they're probably like in one of the hardest places in the firm. So we thought, you know what, let's start there. And we're going to learn also, our managers are going to learn at the same time because they're going to be their mentors or shepherds in the program. So we knew we didn't have the resource to do all of this on our own. So we had actually one of our managers went through another Convergence coaching program, and she reminded us about the senior training. So we said, you know what, let's take a start there. And because Samantha and I had this great relationship, I was able to talk to her and get the specifics. So we started with that, and really it was great because Convergence Coaching lays the program out, and then we've decided to supplement it.
I think that's great. And can you talk a bit about how you've been doing that supplementing? Because people will, we put them in the programs and they're doing their work, or maybe there's work to do in between sessions and things like that. But you've been doing some great things with how you engage within your firm overall. Can you talk a little bit about how you've been doing that?
Sure. So it's funny because the one thing like that we teach or that we know about when you're involved with client accounting and advisory services is people, process, and technology. But yet sometimes we don't put it into action like within our own firm, right? So people, we have to start by making people a priority. So we're very blessed here at WIS. We collaborate a lot and we're aligned. So that part was pretty easy, but you still need somebody like what you call a sponsor to drive the program. So that's kind of my role. And being persistent to keep it going has been a key thing. But also, again, having the guidance from Convergence Coaching and having you lay it out has also made it easier. So if you don't make it easy for people, it's not going to happen, right? So we pretty much laid out a really specific plan based off of the roundtables. We started with the client accounting and advisory team, which we call it advisory short term at WIS, right? So we started with our group because we tend to pilot a lot of things in our group because we are more on the innovative side. So we piloted with our group. So the few key leaders got together and said, yep, we're committed to this. We got our mentors lined up, which are called the shepherds in the program. And we spelled it out really clearly, like this is what's going to happen before the first roundtable. After the roundtable, you're going to meet with your seniors. But before that, I'm going to lay out for you what you should discuss, key points. So again, if you make it easy, and then we all meet as one big team before the next roundtable. So we all get to share ideas. And Samantha, how much do you learn when you share ideas? It's great. Like we learn from the comments the seniors make. It helps us understand them a little more. They probably, a lot of times, I know when I was at the earlier stages, I thought that the managers and the partners had all the answers. So when we share our struggles and the things that we went through, we become a much more relatable group. So that big group meeting we're finding to be really, really effective.
So I have a question. People listening to this might be thinking, awesome. I mean, for sure, I know most of us would be like, yeah, man, we need to do this in our firms. But they could have a conversation like, we don't have time for this. Like, gee, Carolyn, you must have a lot of time to have done this or something. And I think that's such a misnomer. I mean, the busiest firms make these kinds of investments, the busiest people. So maybe you want to speak to sort of the prioritization or how it is that you didn't generate more time to do this. Maybe speak to that.
100% true. I mean, everybody's busy all the time. That's never going to change. But if we don't think a little bit ahead, right? So at the lower levels now, in advisory services especially, you have to have those essential skills that they come earlier. Our teams are speaking to our clients at the lower levels. So it's no longer the partner's the only one having the conversation. Those days are over, right? So if you don't kind of get those essential skills, focus on those, then you're going to have less time, right? Because then the partners or the senior managers will always be the ones having those calls. So it's just a little bit of forward thinking goes a long way. And again, you don't have to do it all. There's programs to help you. Partnering with you guys has been a game changer for us. It would have been a lot harder to create this whole program on our own, but just supplementing it and kind of keeping everybody, in step has really made it a lot easier.
Amazing. I was just going to say that I think what you're speaking to is prioritization. So like, do I prioritize spending time investing in these skills, or do I prioritize always being the only one who has them?
Right.
And that therefore always being the front line of the client advisory skills and client relationship management, but also prioritization, like, should we invest and take this energy, or should we spend more time recruiting people because those people are going to leave if we don't invest in them? It's like a tragic circle of, I don't have time to spend time with my people, but I have time to interview as they leave. And so your firm has just broken that tragic circle and said, no, we're going to bite the bullet or whatever you want to call it, make it a priority. And we've just been so impressed by the thoughtful person power that you're bringing to the shepherding and the roundtables and things in between the sessions. It's made a world of difference with your people.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, again, one of the things that they learn in the training is, leading with generosity. So I think that that's, part of what we're trying to get across. Like, we're making that investment. If we don't teach, then we're not really being fair to them. And then for them, it's the same thing. By them teaching, it's going to benefit them in the long run.
That's excellent. Well, and I think to your point too, sometimes for the leaders, they may feel like, because I know you're the sponsor, but you also incorporate other managers and other people that lead the smaller groups, like you talked about before you bring everybody together. And sometimes they may feel like, I don't have time to go have these meetings, but the value to them are reminders of some of these principles that, hey, we may know it, but maybe I'm not actively doing it. And just the learning that gets to happen through that process as well. Are you finding your managers are saying, hey, I'm getting value out of this discussion, or it's helping me hone my skills? Are you finding anything like that?
Definitely. It's, the old, you learn by teaching. I think, that's holding true. We're all seeing that, and we're also like being very honest about some of the places where we're weak, and we're sharing that, which is also important. I think another part of it that you're missing if you don't do something like this is when you kind of grow up in a firm, if you build relationships along the way. So it becomes, none of us know everything, right? We have to rely on each other. So by building those relationships, it makes it really easy then to go to your peers and to be able to rely on each other and help each other. So I think that's also part of why we wanted to do this like group meeting. We want to build the relationships at the senior level and then also at the mentor level too. And it's funny, today we had our first internal meeting on this with this group with our assurance team, which was really, really good. And people were messaging me from after the meeting about, maybe we can do this or maybe we could do that. And you can see that they're engaged and they're actually even giving us feedback to make recommendations and improvements. And then we do the same thing with you, where we'll reach out and say, hey, here's some feedback and we just want to share it with you. I mean, the program's great, but again, all together, we're going to move forward.
That's so true. Oh, I can't hear Jen. Can you guys hear Jen?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I muted because my dog was barking. So sorry. live stream. So sorry about that. But I was just going to say, that rings so true. And I mean, the idea of feedback, the feedback loop. And I wanted to thank you for the feedback that you give us. That's what I was attempting to say. And that, all learning leaders and sponsors should know that the learning providers want the feedback. I mean, you've helped us as we have constructed this and evolved it, because you are like in there with them. We have people who send their people to our programs and they never ask them what happened, how'd you do, what'd you learn, and that's such a mistake. It's such a missed opportunity to sort of drive home the learning, but also to really get to know the person and to figure out, is this the right investment? It's, does this fit our firm? And so you've just been great in your getting that feedback and giving it back to us and letting us then adapt and modify our programs based upon your real life sort. We never get that feedback that directly from the participant, not as directly as they might give it to you. And so super cool for you to share that back with us. We're grateful.
Well, Carolyn, I think, there are elements that you've spoken to as well that really speak to this other problem that the profession's looking at, which is retention, right? And there's this question of, man, do we invest in these kinds of skills in our seniors and supervisors, because that's especially that group that's hard to retain right now. And some of the pieces that you mentioned that really help with retention is they want learning and development, and you're doing that beyond their technical. So you're really investing in their careers, and you're showing that generosity and investing to them. You're showing that vulnerability, and again, I want feedback, right? They want to be able to know that they're being heard. And then I love the piece by you making sure that you're internally within your firm connecting all of these participants. And your point being, I want relationships to be built, is we share this data point all the time from Gallup, which is if people don't feel like they have a friend at work and they don't feel connected at work, they're far more apt to be drawn away by another organization. And so 3 pillars to retention strategy you've been able to incorporate by really operationalizing how you're doing this training and doing it internally.
Yeah, I mean, you have to it's common sense in some ways, right? I mean, think about it. If you don't feel that the firm is investing in you, that's not going to add to anything positive. But knowing that we're behind the team and that we want to help them and invest in their growth, I think, that's a feel good way to be.
Yeah, there's a Henry Ford, I think it is, that's quoted, and I'm going to paraphrase because I won't get it right exactly, but it's gosh, why would we invest in training for our people? They're going to leave anyway. And then the opposite, Henry Ford's response is, well, but what if you don't invest in training and they stay?
Right.
And so you guys we've been astounded by what you're up to. And we wonder what other advice you might give to folks out there in the profession. Like if, there are other partners listening or other HR leaders who are wondering, how do I get my firm here? Or just any other like lessons learned or advice that you have. And it doesn't have to be about the senior program, even just about learning along the way at WIS.
Yeah, again, I think, just really making it as simple as possible. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. I think as soon as we start to complicate things, people want to run the other direction. So try to make it as casual and relaxed as possible. It doesn't have to be overdone. I think, just being the analytical types that we are, we're super critical of ourselves and everything we do, kind of just take a step back from that and say, all right, how can we make some progress without overdoing it? I think that's a big part of it. If having somebody to lay it out, make it simple, just stick with the simplicity, because really a lot of it is just open discussions, and a lot of it is common sense, especially when it comes to the essential skills, and it incorporates into your everyday life as well. So just talking about that aspect of it and how it affects your personal life, I think that helps engage people. And so, yeah, I just think don't make it too complicated, and have somebody who's willing to lead it and who can collaborate with others, and then partner with other organizations like Convergence Coaching, because again, we don't have to do everything ourselves. We don't have to build everything from the bottom up. So use your resources and just make it simple.
Well, and I want to call one thing out that you've said a couple times that I want to make sure isn't missed, which is when you're selecting those people to lead it in your organization, make sure there are people that are willing to be vulnerable with those that are learning, right?
Right.
Because sometimes we can feel, I'm the experienced person, I'm the leader, and so therefore I should be the example of how it's all done right and perfect. And you've shared a few times of how you're openly saying, hey, this is still a struggle for us, or hey, I'm learning from what you said there too. And I think I would hate it if anybody listening missed that point of where we're identifying the people that will lead this. that vulnerability is an important aspect and attribute to really look for in that leader. And so I appreciate you really bringing that up.
Yeah, that is a really important part of it, Samantha. That's just being honest is going to help the seniors come along too. So this way they understand that nobody has this all figured out, right? So we grow every day. There's no age limit or experience limit on growth.
In all forms of learning too. I mean, that vulnerability can be technical learning as well.
Right.
Like I didn't get this the first time, or, I botched this pretty good the first time I ever, sent it in for review or whatever, just to be straight about our own learning journeys. I love that. I love every bit of that. And I love, there are so many leadership lessons in the story that you told, really, about, commitment and generosity and investment and prioritization and spreading the work among your shepherds and really, the feedback loop process and being open to feedback. Because you're not being perfectionistic, it's okay for people to say it wasn't perfect, and here's how I'd like to see it different. And boy, our profession really needs to learn that, progress instead of perfection. And it's okay to, to start somewhere and then get feedback and make it better. And as long as we're open to that feedback, we're so perfectionistic. Sometimes we shut it down, and said that doesn't help. So anyway, it's awesome to see. Samantha, anything you want to add here at the end, or anything you want to ask Carolyn to add?
No, I thank you so much. One, for your commitment to your team, and two, for you being willing to take time aside to be able to share that. So I just wanted to say thank you very much.
Yes, we're super impressed with you. Yeah,
thank you both for having me. Oh, sorry, Jen.
You're amazing. No, I'm sorry. I thought I stepped on you.
That's okay. I want to thank you both. The partnership and the relationship has really helped so much. And, again, just recognizing that we couldn't do this alone. So thank you.
Yeah, we're amazed by you guys. So we're continuing to learn from you while we're, working together. So keep it up. Keep innovating, and we'll keep asking and learning from you. Thanks. And thanks to all of our, yes, thank you. And thanks to all of our listeners today. Super grateful for your active enrollment and participation in the HR Huddle. And if you have any topical ideas, feel free to reach out. We'll put, tag Carolyn in this post so that you'll know where to find her if you have any follow-up questions for her. And we'll see you all next week at HR Huddle at 5:15 Eastern on Monday. Thank you.